Cinematic legend John Travolta has always captivated audiences with his charm and brilliance. However, his personal life has been heavily scrutinized and speculated about. Travolta recently made news by telling the truth about his new love and dispelling suspicions. Travolta confidently recounts his search for love, defying criticism and society. Travolta's message is obvious as he enters this new chapter. He's happy and ready to live his own life. Travolta's confessions, from his emotional tributes to his late wife, Kelly Preston, to his joyful moments with his children, show his resilience as a respected actor and father. We'll explore John Travolta's incredible narrative, newfound happiness, and fans' unrelenting support that fuels his extraordinary journey. A lifetime of love. While working on The Experts, John Travolta got to know Kelly Preston in 1987. John seemed to bloom, but there was a little problem. Kelly was already married. Their love affair took off once they reconnected in Vancouver in 1990 while working on different film projects, at which point they decided to give it a serious go. Following the resolution of her husband's divorce petition, Kelly became engaged to him. After their original plans for a New York wedding began to spiral out of hand, they decided to elope in Paris, the most romantic city on earth. So in 1990, they boarded a plane and said, "I do," becoming husband and wife. Before Kelly, love. Diana Hyland and John Travolta were an odd couple, but they made a real love story. Despite their extreme 18-year age difference, love has no bounds. They portrayed mother and son, which made them an odd couple. They met on the set of the movie The Boy in the Plastic Bubble. Hyland tragically passed away at the age of 41 in Travolta's arms after being diagnosed with breast cancer, ending their brief relationship. The Boy in the Plastic Bubble received great reviews, which led to Hyland's acceptance of an Emmy Award, which Travolta accepted on her behalf. Clooney and Kelly. Before she met Travolta, Kelly Preston also had a colorful love past. Kelly was married to Kevin Gage when they crossed paths again in Vancouver. After a grand and extravagant wedding in Hawaii, the couple's marriage lasted only 2 years before disintegrating. Kelly Preston was also connected to the handsome actor George Clooney from 1987 to 1989. The rumors of a serious connection gained credence when Kelly received a pet pig called Max as a present from Clooney. Following George and Kelly's breakup, Preston was allowed to keep the animal. They got married twice. By no means was their decision to be married easy for John Travolta and Kelly Preston. In 1991, they felt that the planning for their wedding was becoming too much, so they took a plane and had a short ceremony in Paris. A Scientology minister conducted the wedding, but the delighted couple's festivities were cut short when they discovered their union was not legally binding. They decided to plan a second ceremony, which was legally sanctioned and held on Florida's Daytona Beach. How complex! Family misfortune. The Travolta family experienced sadness in 2009 when Jett, Kelly and John's son, tragically died on January 2nd. In the Bahamas, the Travoltas were having a great time at their house away from home, the Old Bahama Bay Hotel. Their 16-year-old son, Jett, experienced a seizure and slammed his head on the bathtub, which resulted in the tragic death. He passed away soon after, leaving Jett's sister Ella and the rest of the family inconsolable and grieving. "To bury your son is the worst thing you can ever do," said the Travolta's family attorney in a statement to People magazine on their behalf. A matter of family. For the Travoltas, acting was a family business. Helen, John's mother, pursued a career in acting, significantly impacting John's vocation choice. He had grown up seeing his mother take on acting and dancing roles in movies and on stage. The 3-in-1 performer was John Travolta, who honed his acting, dancing, and singing skills while attending theater school in New York. Unbeknownst to many, the mother-son duo showcased their diverse skills to the public by co-starring in Grease and Saturday Night Fever. He's an airman. Travolta loves to fly and perform. Having obtained his formal flying certificate, he's a proficient pilot qualified to operate private aircraft. He purchased his fleet of 5 aircraft due to this interest. Travolta utilizes the Boeing 707, part of the fleet, to transport his loved ones around the nation and far-off exotic locales. Because of his intense passion for aircraft, Travolta constructed a house for his family in the Jumbo Lair Aviation Estates, a residential air park. The runway leading directly to the Travolta family's front door was included in the home's construction so that he could always get on an aircraft and travel anywhere he pleased. Salary. John Travolta's lengthy and prosperous career has contributed to his reputation and net worth growth. At the moment, Travolta's estimated net worth is $170 million. With blockbusters like Saturday Night Fever, the Grease and Hairspray stars are among the highest-paid performers in Hollywood, and the royalties keep flowing in. With his kind of money, it should come as no surprise that Travolta can afford to add more luxurious residences and aircraft to his already amazing collection. In addition, he can take his family on amazing excursions to every country in the world. John becomes personalized. Kelly and John are used to being in the spotlight. Sometimes they feel their opinions need to be heard. They decided to discuss their memorable weekend at Demi Moore and Bruce Willis's house in 1996 when they thought they'd conceived their cherished baby Jett. They were unaware that Jett would leave them a few short years later. The Travoltas have acknowledged publicly that they've not always had an easy time and that at moments like this, they've needed the support of a Scientology marital counselor. 48 years old and pregnant. Kelly was shocked to learn she was expecting their third child at the age 47. This joyful announcement was made barely 16 months after Jett's tragic death in January of the previous year. The news shocked and surprised them since they'd not anticipated it. Nevertheless, the Travoltas were ecstatic and eager to tell their relatives the good news. They said in their formal statement that keeping a secret is impossible, especially when it's something this wonderful. We're excited to be the first to tell everyone that we expect a new family member. Little Benjamin. In 2011, Kelly and John gave birth to their third child, a boy they named Benjamin. After Jett, their son, died tragically 2 years ago, the family was overjoyed to welcome a new baby into their home. The Travoltas told the reporter in an interview with Hello magazine that having a new baby had given the whole family a fresh lease on life. The most memorable aspect of this, for John, may have been how he felt holding Benjamin. They stated of Benjamin, "He's brought us a new beginning. For us, it's been encouraging, especially when he smiles at me and appears content in my arms." Charlie Sheen and Kelly. In addition to her prior marriage, Kelly Preston briefly became engaged to Charlie Sheen in 1990. With a 2.5-carat diamond engagement ring, Sheen proposed. Following a handgun-related incident that Kelly writes about in her memoirs, the relationship came to an end. Charlie had a pistol which he had stored in his pants pocket. Kelly was struck in the arm by the gunshot as she was moving the jeans in an attempt to clean up. After a friendly breakup, they agreed to divide the proceeds from the engagement ring sale. That's one way to end things now. The mansions of Travolta. Like many celebrities, they're wealthy and can afford to live in lavish residences. The Travoltas own 4 of these properties, the biggest of which is in Ocala, Florida, while the other 4 are located in Maine, California, Hawaii, and other states. The fact that it doubles as an airport with 2 runways that go directly to their front door may be the most opulent feature. In reality, the house is located in a residential air park. The Travoltas purposely chose this site so they could always have access to their jets. Travolta was reported as stating, "We designed the house for the jets and to have at our access the world at a moment's notice," in an interview with Australia's Today program. Kirstie Alley and Travolta. John Travolta and the late Kirstie Alley were close friends. They found they had a lot in common, including Scientology, when they first met while starring opposite one another in the popular film Look Who's Talking, and again in the follow-up Look Who's Talking 2. Years passed before Alley could let go of her emotions of love for Travolta. It's fascinating that she felt that way since, while telling Barbara Walters that Parker Stevenson was the love of my life, Kirstie married him when they first met. Despite this, Kirstie stayed devoted to Stevenson, and Travolta remained the closest friend. Following tragedy. The Travolta's family life was routine and easygoing, to the extent that one may expect such a life from a well-compensated Hollywood star. This was before Jett Travolta's untimely death, which left them devastated at the age of 16 after a seizure. Only 8 years old when her older brother passed away under such terrible circumstances, Jett's younger sister was also named in a statement the Travoltas made a few days after the disaster. Any parent who loses a kid will tell you that it's the toughest agony they've ever had to face and that they'll think about them every day. It added, Jett was the most wonderful son that two parents could ever ask for and lit up the lives of everyone he encountered. Proceeding forward. Some individuals would rather mourn alone after a catastrophe, while others depend on the love and support of their closest friends and family. The Travoltas made the same decision, drawing strength from the affection they'd received from their numerous admirers and those closest to them. The Travoltas said that throughout these very trying times, their love had been shown to everyone. Their lives would never be the same again, but the couple chose to move forward with their lives. On November 23, 2010, in Florida, the family welcomed a healthy baby boy named Benjamin, weighing 8 pounds and 3 ounces. In a statement on their website, they said, "It's a beautiful reminder of the inherent goodness in the human spirit that gives us hope for a brighter future." Secrets of a marriage. It takes effort and commitment to celebrate 25 years of marriage, and John and Kelly spoke candidly with Closer Weekly about how they manage their marriage. The fundamental idea is that they have a loving relationship and care for one another. Additionally, they revealed to the magazine that they both naturally desired to shield one another. It's a common advice given by most married couples to attempt to keep things interesting. Take on new adventures together and help you develop as a pair and transition through life stages together. Kelly noted that it's important to set aside time for one another and agreed with everything above. She said, "Just the two of you, keep doing things." Significantly indifferent. Working as a team and presenting a unified front is critical for parenting. The kids at the Travolta home know that John is a complete pushover. Therefore, this isn't the case. John, who admitted to the Daily Mail that he would say yes to almost everything regarding his youngest son, Ben, might be described as a yes dad. It's something you have to do. Kelly said she'd tell Ben it was too late and he should go to bed if he asked for ice cream at midnight. When he asked his father 2 minutes later, John responded, "Sure, would you want fudge on that? How do we get an invitation to the Travolta family's midnight ice cream party?" Ella Travolta right now. Many people in the entertainment industry would discourage their kids from pursuing careers in the industry. In contrast, Ella Blay, the Travolta family's daughter, is rapidly pursuing her dream of becoming a successful actress. She's polishing her art as a young adult, following in her father's footsteps. When asked whether he supported her acting career at the 2017 SAG Awards, John responded favorably, saying, "Yes, I want her to because she's good at it." Dads are usually their daughter's greatest supporters, but he could be right. She's such a good performer. Strange mishap. They must have felt their sorrow would last a lifetime when their son Jett sadly died at the early age of 16 in a bizarre accident. The Travoltas were involved in another heartbreaking mishap while flying into the main airport. Their dogs, who had been taken for a brief stroll around the airport premises, accompanied them. The canines were reportedly put in charge of taking them for walks by a liaison, but sadly they were struck by an airport car and died as a result of the collision. The airport gave the Travoltas a letter, flowers, and a heartfelt message of regret. An entire lifetime career. Travolta had great success and a broad and diversified acting career, with at least 10 of his films garnering over $100 million and another 8 surpassing that amount with over $200 million in box office receipts. He has an incredible track record of high box office earnings. Because Hollywood producers know that his name on the bill would boost box office receipts, he's developed into one of the industry's most seasoned and sought-after performers. Despite being nominated for many Academy Awards, John Travolta has yet to win one. His popular films include Saturday Night Fever, Grease, Look Who's Talking, Wild Hogs, Hairspray, Bolt, Pulp Fiction, and Phenomenon. Romantic error. Hollywood celebrities often find themselves involved in love scandals, and John Travolta is no exception. Douglas Gaterba, a former pilot for Travolta, said in 2013 that he had a personal relationship with Travolta for 6 years. In a tell-all article with the National Enquirer, Gaterba broke his quiet. While the claim was made, Gaterba maintained he was not violating any non-disclosure agreement and that the tale took place while he worked for the Travolta family aviation firm. The Travolta family denied the accusations, calling them ridiculous and inaccurate. To this day, there's no confirmation of it. Being afraid. Travolta's relationship with Scientology has been challenging. The Church of Scientology thought Travolta could want to quit the organization in 1991. William Franks, executive director, believed Travolta was concerned about information about his personal life being revealed by the church. Additionally, the Church of Scientology values confidentiality highly. As of right now, these mysteries remain undiscovered. Therefore, it's possible to suspect that a non-disclosure agreement binds them. Travolta's affiliation with the Church of Scientology is much more complicated than he would have imagined when considering all these aspects. His pioneering. John Travolta's wanted to be an actor for as long as he can remember. He was so determined to succeed at it that he decided to drop out of high school and devote all of his time to it. His first relocation was to New York City, where he was cast in the cast of the musical Grease and went on tour with the show. This was his first professional acting role. His next position was with Over Here, another popular Broadway production. This was a great chance for Travolta to hone his acting abilities and expand his career. As soon as he was certain he could succeed, he packed his things and left for Los Angeles, the global center of show business. Court cases and assault. Travolta had a rough May of 2012 as he was accused of receiving unsolicited overtures from an unidentified masseuse. A lawsuit was brought by the masseuse against Travolta. Only a few days had passed since the last round of allegations. Gloria Allred represented two males who made the request this time. The men said they had seen Travolta's aggressive conduct at two different hotels, one in Beverly Hills and the other in Atlanta, and had sued him for violence and assault. Travolta persevered, and finally the accusations were withdrawn when his legal team showed that the tales weren't accurate. One more assault. Travolta had to deal with accusations before his lawsuits from 2012. It said that Travolta spoke rudely to a ship employee in 2009 while on a Royal Caribbean trip. The claims state that Travolta told him he was beautiful and that he would take care of him. John Travolta could refute the statements made by Mr. Zanzi, the cruise ship employee, at the core of the accusations, even if he couldn't dispute that he was on the trip. When questioned about the allegations, Travolta dismissed them as ludicrous and inane and assumed that the person making them was someone seeking a brief moment of attention. For a trial, the accusations were subsequently abandoned. Accused misbehavior. In 2012, yet another accusation was made. This time, however, it came from Jeff Conaway, who portrayed Kinnicky in Grease and was a previous co-star of John Travolta. In a National Enquirer piece, Vicky Lizzie and his ex-fiancée alleged that John Travolta had again made inappropriate approaches towards Conaway. This time they said it happened in the 1990s. John Travolta's legal team fiercely refuted the allegations, claiming they were nothing more than a malicious tabloid agenda sourced by people seeking notoriety or a payday to boost lagging sales by running outrageous, defamatory stories about my client. Jett's battle. Jett tragically died at the early age of 16, and only after his passing did John Travolta disclose some of the many challenges his son had faced. Jett was not just autistic, but also afflicted with a complex confluence of neurological conditions that left him often susceptible to seizures. Sadly, an extortion attempt resulted in the specifics of Jett's illness being disclosed during court. In the end, John Travolta thought it was important for people to understand the suffering his son had endured throughout his brief life and the circumstances leading up to his tragic death. Complete silence. John Travolta is an accomplished pilot and aviation enthusiast with incredible experience. This does not suggest that he hasn't sometimes had to handle an emergency. This specific event occurred in an evening in late November 1992. Travolta was flying his Gulfstream N728T on a cloudy night when he had a total engine failure while navigating one of the busiest airspaces. Travolta had to make a quick decision, and fortunately he saw the Washington, D.C. airport in between a cloud break. With his co-pilot, he could steer the aircraft to an emergency landing, fortunately without incident. A close call. The jet had a complete blackout of its communication system and severe engine failure. Concerned about Travolta's jet's location, air traffic control halted operations until they learned where the plane may be landing. It was agreed to have another aircraft lead John and his co-pilot to the runway to assist. They diverted a fully booked Boeing 727 to do this. Travolta, however, escaped a mid-air collision since he was unaware that this was the plan because his radios were also down. Fortunately, nobody was harmed and both aircraft made a safe landing. His preference for romanticism. Nobody knows Travolta's true romantic inclinations. He seemed content in his long-term marriage to Kelly Preston, the mother of his 3 children, but it's difficult to keep downplaying Travolta's circumstances in light of the many claims made by others about his uninvited, amorous approaches. Irritated by these allegations, Travolta decided to address them in a Daily Beast interview where he was cited as stating, "I found it most offensive with the loss of my son. That seemed to be the lowest I'd ever experienced. Somebody will always find such material intriguing, but you avoid family. Every celebrity has this as their weak point. All that matters is that people want money. That's it. It takes place on many levels." Proceeding forward. Although Travolta's had a long and fruitful career, we're still determining his plans. Maybe he'll work on more projects like the People vs. O.J. Simpson American Crime Story, now that Netflix is the dominant streaming service, or maybe he's done with big-budget films like Saturday Night Fever, Grease, and Pulp Fiction. Maybe he'll decide it's time to give his family and his passion for flying more attention. We do know, however, that Travolta gives whatever he puts his mind to everything. He does his all to the point that he excels at it. We eagerly await what he releases next, because back in 2016, he was given some fresh options for stage and movie. Bereaved of Kelly. The loving Travolta looked impervious to traumas and personal disasters after enduring them together for a long time. Sometimes, however, a couple is powerless to overcome a greater force. Kelly was regrettably given a breast cancer diagnosis in 2018. The family chose to keep this information private. She tragically died at the age of 57 after 2 years of therapy. In a sad Instagram post, John made the formal announcement of her death and praised her bravery as well as the support she received throughout that trying time. She is, and always will be, his greatest love. Olivia, my dearest. John Travolta was at a loss for words upon learning that his close friend Olivia Newton-John had finally gone away after a protracted, intermittent struggle with breast cancer. Following a great deal of suffering in his own life, the celebrity posted a flashback picture of the two on social media shortly after learning of the devastating news, writing, "My dearest Olivia, you made all of our lives so much better. You had a tremendous influence. I adore you a great deal. We'll all be together once again and see you down the road. From the first minute I laid eyes on you and forever after. Your John, your Danny." He also lost Kirsty. It was inevitable that losing his Grease co-star would be difficult, but in December 2022, John Travolta would suffer another devastating blow when he found out that Kirstie Alley passed away at the age of 71. The Cheers actress had been diagnosed with stage 4 colon cancer in May of 2022 and lost her fight a few months later. Naturally, Travolta and Alley had starred together in the Look Who's Talking film franchise back in the 80s, and for many they were one of the iconic film couples of that era. The Travoltas on the go. The Travoltas are a family that still manages to have fun and move on from their past experiences. In the summer of 2023, John shared some photos from what appeared to be an amazing trip to Japan on social media. The video included numerous shots of John, his kids, Ella and Benjamin, and other family friends having a great time. They saw many of the famous sights that the Asian nation has to offer while in Japan, and they also had the opportunity to sample some of Japan's best cuisines. Travolta unbothered by public opinion. John Travolta's always fascinated Hollywood, and his personal life remains an attraction. Again in 2024, the legendary actor makes news of his love life. Travolta is seeing Anna Gonzalez, a promising actress who's appeared in indie and major films. Their connection to a recent production led to a blossoming romance. Travolta seems unmoved by the media's coverage of his new connection. His happiness and relationship with Anna are his priority. According to sources, Anna's given the actor pleasure and stability, which he values. Travolta's indifference to celebrity criticism shows his perseverance and dedication to living his life. Travolta puts fame and love in perspective by concentrating on his inner delight and true connections, showing that he doesn't care what others say as long as he and Anna are happy. If you've watched the video till here, that means you've enjoyed the video. Subscribe. Don't forget to turn on the notifications bell icon